well into the middle of the backside of this block.
6 athletes have punched their ticket.
There's a lot of competitive energy that's been dying to come out.
The end, 14-14 for Martha King.
6 spots remain.
It would be part of my redemption. The first time I got to go to the STIHL series, I choked. I got so nervous and I trained so hard for it.
Big butcher block slabs falling out of that.
You've got to have passion, but you've got to be able to blend it with technique and with skill.
Today, 7 more athletes from Pool C battle it out for 3 spots in the STIHL Timbersports 2021 Women's U.S. Championship.
Like an animal, just let me out of this cage, you know, it's go time.
Look at the chips falling out of this block!
So this is like my redemption, my road back to like prove that I am a really good athlete and I deserve to be there.
2021 STIHL Timbersports Road to the Championship, our women's qualifier. Tommy Sanders here with Kevin Holtz. We're ready to get going now with Pool C. Again, 7 athletes here, a lot of talent. It's go big or go home. You got to be among the top 3 in order to go to the championship. And among this pool, who stands out?
Well, I'm watching Kate Witkowski. She comes to us out of the Midwest region. She's training with a lot of the top names. I think she's got the skills, the talent to really put together a top-notch performance here. And we can't go without saying this is the first year for the women's standing block discipline. It's been part of the men's division for quite some time. Our female competitors have been competing in standing block outside of the STIHL Timbersports ranks. We're bringing it to the big stage for 2021.
All right, because it's 2021, we have virtual competition today. You'll see how that works, and you will see some hard-nosed competition on the way. Women's Pool A started. First discipline is the stock saw.
In the stock saw, 2 athletes compete at once using identically tuned running MS-661 chainsaws. At the start signal, the down cut is made first, then a quick transition to the up cut. Both discs must be cut within a 4-inch section of the wood.
Women's stock saw. Absolutely. Let's start off with our first discipline in Women's Pool C. It's going to be the stock saw time to beat, posted by Sonia Wixom. We're going in alphabetical order here. There's no doubt about it because this is going to be Amber Auld versus Amanda Airy.
A little bit of a hesitation over top of the block, but that's fine. Get set up, get lined up. Now it's go time. Both of these ladies right together on the switch. I hear one of these saws pulling down pretty hard. Wow, what a finish.
Good race. Amber Auld official time 13.39, but it's Amanda Airy with the best, 13.24.
Going back to take another look at the finish from these 2 competitors, you can hear the saw bogged down just a bit in the middle of this cut. They are going for everything they've got. Amanda Airy by a 1/10 of a second.
Well, first, it was mentally for me as well first, so I have to just visualize myself going down, coming back up to make those pool cookies type thing. So yeah, hesitated a little bit coming up, but he said it was a good cut, so I'm okay with it.
This is going to be Kate Witkowski, longtime STIHL competitor from Wisconsin, going up against Haley Smith.
Well, the difference in stage is not an accident. These ladies are joining us virtually from different parts of the country. Kate Witkowski, though, is putting on a barn burner of a cut, looking exceptionally fast. 12.15 from Kate Witkowski. This out for you. Kate Witkowski is a known associate of Nancy Zaleski. Zaleski with the Slingerlands and the Sullivans. There's a lot of stock saw training happening in that circle of people.
Kate Witkowski, again, that time 12.15. That's the new time to beat. Haley Smith with a 13.88.
No matter what the event is, first event, I always have nerves. Stock saw, I tend to have the most nerves. So it's like a double whammy on that first event, but that's also a good one to shake it out on because it's so quick. So yeah, feeling good after that one.
Well, in this virtual competition, we have Kate Page, the Forest Service firefighter from Montana, cutting from the state of Washington. From the Empire State of New York, it's Hannah Quigley. Time to beat 12.15, posted by Kate Witkowski.
Time spent with equipment in hand should go to Kate Page. Time spent training this discipline to Hannah Quigley. We're going to have a close race either way you slice it. Right now it's advantage Kate Page. Quigley reels her in, though, at the end.
Yeah, officially 11.85 for Kate Page. Hannah Quigley 11.72 to take the stock saw.
Well, the intervals between competitors is getting closer and closer as competitors refine their skills. It was all Kate Page at the switch, but Quigley found every last ounce of horsepower coming back up through that cut, reels in Paige and passes her at the end.
Definitely had some nerves today. I think just really going through the motions, getting to the basics and doing what I do every day in practice, you know, setting the saw up the same way, lines the same spot, foot angled the same way, all of those things kind of help me set in, get that memory of like where I want to be, and that's really what gets me set in for that cut right off the bat.
Closing up the stock saw event, Hannah Quigley will be leading going into our newest event for the ladies competition, the standing block chop.
I'm really excited this year for standing block. That's one that I was lucky enough to compete in it a little in college, and now having it at shows it's been a challenge. There's a lot of different movements that are a little bit harder as a woman to kind of conquer, but getting into the log and getting in a really good rhythm, that's something that's really special about competing.
STIHL Timbersports is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at stihlusa.com. By the Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear of STIHL Timbersports. By Ace Hardware. Ace is the helpful place. And by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Mount Gilead, North Carolina, one of the 4 locations hosting competitors for our first ever virtual competition. We have athletes from around the country competing to be in one of the 12 spots in the 2021 STIHL Timbersports Women's U.S. Championship. We've already completed one discipline in Pool C, and Hannah Quigley sits at the top of the leaderboard. Only the top 3 in points will advance to the finals. Now, we begin the newest event in our women's competition, the standing block. To find out more about the standing block, here's our Duluth Trading Discipline Review.
The standing block mimics the process of felling a standing tree. The competitor chops out the front half of the log first, then repositions to the backside as quickly as possible to chop the remaining wood until the log is severed.
New in the Women's U.S. Championships this year, the standing block, the time to beat, is Hannah Quigley's 5.7.88. This is going to be Sonia Wixom, a transplanted New Yorker living in Dallas, Texas, against Amanda Airy.
Well, Tommy, as you pointed out, the standing block is a new discipline to the STIHL Timbersports Series women's division. It's been part of our men's division for years, and it's also been a part of other lumberjill competitions around the country and around the world. Not a frequent occurrence, but it's out there, and our ladies are diving into this event, picking up this new skill. 2020 hopefully offered them some time to train and get things sorted out. Sonia Wixom around to the second side of her block. We'll get a look at how she takes this thing apart. She goes 2 hits on the upside. Bit of a glancing blow coming down, though. It's a sign of fatigue and maybe over-tensioning the grip on the axe. Just kind of slid down the face of that block. You'll see competitors as they fatigue towards the end of the chop, they tend to come in flat with the axe and then steer it into the cut, and that's when you'll start seeing some of those glancing blows. Sonia's working on the near side of that block. She'll get that thing to twist open a little bit.
And Airy just applying the force right now.
Yeah, Amanda coming in very flat right now. She has lost almost all of her slope and is just trying to break off the log. Sonia Wixom, though, still slicing. There it is, Sonia Wixom, around a 124.
And one more for Amanda Airy. 124.26 for Sonia Wixom. Yeah, 129.53 for Amanda Airy. Heat number 2, Kate Witkowski, longtime stars of women's division STIHL Timbersports, going up against Haley Smith. Haley Smith cutting from the state of Washington. Witkowski in Wisconsin.
Through the magic of television and technology, we can bring it all together. Again, women's standing block, this is the first year for this discipline for these competitors in the STIHL Timbersports Series. I like what I'm seeing, though. They have embraced it, they're running with it, and I see big chips falling out of that block from Kate Witkowski. Probably one more round of chip hits. Goes in to put a couple drivers in. There's 2 drivers exactly. Now we'll get a look to see how these ladies open up the blocks. Kate Witkowski going 2 and 2, not really getting those first 2 hits set up. I like the pace from Haley Smith, though. she can maintain that pace, she'll post a solid time. I'm not seeing good chips falling out from Haley Smith. There's the first big chip for Haley Smith.
Time to beat 57-88. Kate Witkowski getting close to that.
Oh, Kate Witkowski. I wasn't even ready for that. What a finish. Let's go back and watch this finish from Kate Witkowski. She really has done her homework on the front side of that block and did an exceptional job driving through the back. I thought she had a whole nother round of chips to go on this block. She knew more than I did for sure, driving it cleanly off on the near side.
Haley Smith official time 1:22.54, and Kate Witkowski takes over the top spot with a 57.73.
Yeah, it wasn't a perfect cut. I was a little messy. I wasn't swinging, I don't think, as hard as I could. I was probably a little apprehensive just because I haven't done that really in competition before, but I got through it and I'm happy with that.
Here we go, final heat of the standing block. This is going to be Kate Page of Montana against Amber Auld of Kentucky. Amber competing since 2008.
Kate Page opening 1-1, drawing a nice chip. There's the first chip from Amber Auld. That opens up those corners. Now they can start reaching across, spanning the axe near, far, clearing out pairs of hits, equal nice big chips. I don't know about this cut from Amanda, though. She seems like she's around way too soon. There is a lot of cuttable wood. Kate Page, nice open back, had to regroup. She stepped that face down a bit. I think that's well within her reach. I wish, and she wishes. Oh, there she goes, she got it. I was gonna say, I wish, and I know she wishes she hadn't stepped down the top of that chop a little bit, left her a little more cuttable wood.
52.59 officially for Amber Auld, and first place in the standing block, Kate Page, 49.76.
We wrap up the standing block discipline with Kate Page in first, followed by Hannah Quigley and then Catherine Witkowski. The top three advance to the final. Coming up next is the single buck.
But first, these athletes dedicate immense hours to training for these events, but many still find time to serve their community. Let's find out in the Ace Hardware Helpful Profile. Many timber sports competitors give back to their community in numerous ways, and Kate Page is one of those athletes who serves the community through her occupation.
I think I contribute to the community through my job. I'm a wildland firefighter, so I spend my summers going all over the country putting out wildfires. I take a lot of pride in feeling like I work hard for my income, and that's what fighting fire is. We spend our summers hiking all over mountainsides with a bunch of weight on our back and using chainsaws and being away from home, and and the camaraderie with it. The camaraderie is irreplaceable. I think it's a really good way to give back to the community because everyone loves their public lands.
STIHL Timbersports continues. We are halfway through our Pool C competition. Kate Page, Hannah Quigley, and Catherine Witkowski sit in the top three positions. Only the top three in points will advance to the 2021 STIHL Timbersports U.S. Women's Championship. Now we move into our next discipline, the single buck. To find out more about the single buck, here's our discipline review.
The single buck competition is based on the traditional process of bucking the log into smaller lengths. The saw is a long peg and raker format that both cuts and clears the wood. Consistent technique, use of the full saw blade, and speed are all necessary for competitive time.
Time for our third discipline, the single buck. The saws are out and we're ready for heat number one. Time to beat the 31.15 by Haley Smith. This is going to be Amber Auld versus Sonia Wixom.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
We're talking about in the single buck event a lot. Footing is so critical in two different strategies here. Auld on the left with foot blocks nailed in the stage. Wixom on the right with metal spiked logger caulks gluing herself to the stage. A little bit of trouble from Wixom. A lot of hanging now from Wixom. Auld is not waiting around.
There we've got it. Official time for Wixom 32.06, and Amber Auld takes the heat 22.52.
It felt great. Single buck is by far my worst event, and I've been working really, really hard on it, and I have yet to kind of pull it together in a competition, so I'm glad that it came together today.
Here we go, heat number 2 of the single buck. Kate Page, who just won the standing block discipline, going to be going up against Hannah Quigley. Page, Washington State, Quigley from New York. These virtual cuts.
She won the standing block. She was second in the stock saw to Hannah Quigley. This is a chance to get some points over her, and Quigley is leaving a huge window of opportunity. You see Quigley getting some help from single buck legend Dave Jewett, running the saw very well now. It's going to be all Kate Page, though. Makes you wonder what the rest of that cut would look like if we could just clean up the top of that block. She ran the saw very cleanly, but Kate Page just powered through that log.
Kate Page takes over the lead, an 18.75 for Hannah Quigley, 20.64.
Feeling pretty good. It's a little hard when you can't monitor how you're doing with the people you're competing with, but I personally and individually feel good about how I'm doing.
Well, you saw it, an 18.75 by Kate Page. That's going to be a tough time to get under, but that is the time to beat. Coming up in our final matchup here in the single buck, Kate Witkowski versus Amanda Airy.
Really solid start off the top for Kate Witkowski. I like what I'm seeing through at least a portion of it. The nose of that saw all the way back in the block. There's still some more to give, though, on the front side of it. Oh, trouble. That may have been trouble with the wedge even. I'm not sure, but really stuffed up pretty hard. There it is. Kate Witkowski, a really impressive 1954. We'll go back and take a look at this run from Kate Witkowski. She's doing a lot of the things right. She's got to get the handle of that saw, though, all the way to the block. That's a big intimidation thing. It was for me as a sawyer, too, because you feel like you're overextended and you're weak at that point. But if you get those arms to full lock, then you're using your whole body to drag that saw back out of the block.
Amanda Airy's time, a 22.46, and Kate Witkowski with the 1954 is going to fall short of Kate Page. Kate Page takes the single buck.
It felt like a pretty good cut until I hung, and I hung bad. That was one of the worst hangs I've ever had. I don't know what happened. It seemed like I pulled a noodle through, so I pulled some of the chips through, and they got caught and wedged me up. So that's like, I'm happy with how I was stroking the saw, but I'm not happy with that cut.
That was the third discipline, and looking at our leaderboard, we have our top 3 holding down their positions with Kate Page in first with 20 points and 16 points to Hannah Quigley and Catherine Witkowski. The underhand is coming up next. STIHL Timbersports is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at stihlusa.com. By the Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear of STIHL Timbersports. By Ace Hardware. Ace is the helpful place. And by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Well, here we go with our final event of the competition, the underhand. Kate Page, Hannah Quigley, Catherine Witkowski have been at the top of our leaderboard throughout this competition. Amber Auld and Amanda Airy need top points in this underhand. They want to advance to the championship. To find out more about the underhand, here's the discipline review.
For the underhand, the competitors stand atop logs mounted horizontally on the stage. At the start, they will cut the front half of the log, then transition by facing the opposite direction to chop out the back half until the log is severed.
Final discipline of the day is the underhand chop. The time to beat Amanda Airy, a 106.9. This is Sonia Wixon versus Haley Smith.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, even right out of the gate, I like what I'm seeing for the swing from both of these ladies. They have great form in this underhand chop. The pace isn't there yet, but the pace will eventually develop. Evidence of the chop there starting to mount on the back side of the block for both of these competitors, or I should say the first side of the block. Big chips, big slabs of wood. It means they're placing the hits cleanly. Pairs of hits yield nice big slabs of wood, and they're starting to accumulate for both choppers. Both of them turning around that 40-second mark. Wixom making the right choice. She went for 2 hits on her drive side. She virtually placed both of the hits in the same point. Went back for a 3rd hit just to span the axe. Now she's got a really good hit placement going. You can see the difference there. Wixom's block on the left, a wide open chopping face. Airy just a little, damn it. Smith just a little bit pinched in. She's got to reach a little, there it is, right there. That was a great hit from Smith. She got that top of the block to clear away. Sonia Wixom steps off. It doesn't look like there was a lot of movement there, but the fibers broke. You'll feel that as the chopper.
That's a good chop from Sonia Wixom, but not enough to take the lead from Amanda Airy. Unfortunately, it's a DQ for Haley Smith.
Here we go with our virtual competition into heat number 2 of the underhand, cutting from New York State. It's going to be Hannah Quigley versus Amber Auld, cutting from North Carolina.
Stand to your
Amanda
timber.
Airy setting the time to beat at a minute 6.91.
Again, both these competitors with really great swings, bringing some more of the pace that we didn't see from the previous heat. Watch for the times to melt away here, coming up on the 15-second mark. And I think both of these ladies are going into the drive and be turning here pretty shortly. One more round of chips. She actually, you see Hannah Quigley thinks about it. She goes back for one more round. Auld is around. 2 and 2 will open up that block, looking for the first chips to draw. That block not coming apart well for Amber Auld. Finally some chips discharging. Hannah Quigley not waiting around. A very clean chop from Hannah Quigley. There it is, a 44.56.
One more should do it for Auld. There we go, 57.01 for Amber Auld.
Really solid chop from Hannah Quigley, and what makes it fast is accuracy. She is placing the axe exceptionally well, especially on the drive side of the log, her right-hand side. That block was over and done. She spent some extra time on the front side and really must have had that board in.
Today was definitely like up and down. Some events I was really in the zone when I went into. Other events I got a little excited at the beginning and then kind of put a lot of energy forward and then had to really reel it back. I think I did really well in the events that I just took it hit by hit or stroke by stroke. The underhand I felt really good to end with. I felt like I had pretty good lines, decent pace. Now we'll just see where everything lands.
Time for the final heat of the underhand, and it is fitting that we wrap up our Pool C competition with our 2 top performers, points-wise through the day, Kate Witkowski and Caitlin Page.
Both of these competitors exceptional underhand cutters, and we've watched them trade top positions for most of the day in all the disciplines. You can just see the shower of chips from both of these blocks. I don't know that either of them are going to have the pace here unless they've really done a lot of work on the first side of this block. If they're going to have the pace to take down Hannah Quigley, she really posted an exceptional time in her heat.
44.56 is the time to beat.
A little bit of a loss of slope for Kate Page. She's getting pinched out. She's going to have to hope. There it is. Witkowski is off. Kate Page is going to have to hope that block will break on her because she's really running out of cuttable wood. There it is for Kate Page. Having another look at this chop from Kate Witkowski. Keeping it fairly clean. Staying wide on that back face. Lots of cuttable wood there. Driving through cleanly. Nice technical cut from Kate Witkowski. She's going to be cruising through to the finals, no problem. And she'll be able to clean up the little details in that chop and drop that time even more.
Kate Page official time, 50.14 and 41.75. Kate Witkowski takes the underhand.
I don't know, it felt all right. I was a little, when I got into the cut, I think I was a little, it felt like I wasn't on top of my focus. The axe was cutting really well though. I think I just need a little more slope and it would have really driven through that wood even better. Started driving a little early, which is not something I typically do. Tried it out, it kind of worked. But yeah, that was an okay cut for me, so I'm pleased, I guess, with that.
And that performance is our John Deere power play. Nothing runs like a deer.
Kate Page, Hannah Quigley, and Catherine Witkowski never left the top 3 spots throughout this Pool C competition. Now we'll move on to the finals. Join us next time. We'll have 7 more athletes from Pool D battling it out for the final 3 spots in the 2021 Steel Timber Sports Women's U.S. Championship. We'll see you then.